Praise be Jesus Christ and Mary Immaculate. Welcome to this 19th Sunday in Ordinary Time. I apologize for the setting. My room is not set up in my new ministry site, but I didn't want to miss out this opportunity to share the weekly reflection. We're going to read from the Gospel of John, chapter 6, verses 41 to 51. In this lengthy discourse given by Jesus in the synagogue in Capernaum, following the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves and fish, as we saw last week, Jesus manages to displease or to disappoint everyone. He disappoints the crowd who wanted to make him king. He also displeased and disappointed the religious leaders. As well, we will see even some of his disciples, some of whom eventually will abandon Jesus because of his teaching. Let's explore why this happened in John chapter 6, verses 41 to 51. The Jews, by which the evangelist always refers to the religious leaders and not the people, the religious authorities of the people, began to grumble. And you could literally use the play of word grumble, like when your stomach grumbles, right? Jesus had just fed the large crowd with loaves and fishes, and now people are grumbling. And they're grumbling not because they're hungry, but for something else. They grumbled like the people had grumbled against Moses in the desert. But now it was against Jesus because he said, I am. This phrase proclaims the divine name, I am. And Jesus called himself, I am the bread that came down from heaven. Why did they grumble against this? The existence of religious institutions depended on the distance that they had established between God and his people. It's religions that established this distance and that made clear this distance, and sometimes made this distance even worse than it was, with the institution itself as the mediator between this relationship. But Jesus came to eliminate this distance, bringing God directly to the people, which the religious leaders found intolerable because they were left out. For them, the law descended from heaven, not the bread which sustains life. They said, isn't this Jesus, the son of Joseph? Meaning, why doesn't he behave like his father? How come he doesn't speak like his father? How come he doesn't believe like his father, right? Isn't this the son of Joseph? How come we can't recognize Joseph in him? The idea that a man could claim divine status was unacceptable and considered blasphemous. For the religious authorities, God's plan for humanity seemed to them blasphemy and Jesus deserving death. Jesus responded, do not grumble among yourselves. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him or calls him. The verb draws is characteristic only in John among the evangelists. And what does this verb mean? It signifies an irresistible attraction, meaning there's something beautiful about God that attracts you to him. There's something very beautiful and truthful about God that attracts you. The love with which the Father draws and loves his children knows no limits or expirations, not even death. Where Jesus is leading us, he does not interrupt this love, because this love is eternal. Just as the life that he gives to us all is eternal, just the love that Jesus gives to us is as eternal as the life that he gives to all human beings, making us feel cherished and valued. Instead, death makes it even more powerful, as the barriers that once hindered the reception of his love fall away in death. God's love is eternal, just as the life that he gives to all human beings is eternal. Jesus continues, no one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up on that last day. For Jesus, resurrection is not a final date, but part of the individual very existence of the person. Resurrection is not something promised to us at the end of times, but it's something that we have to experience even now. Even now is the very existence. As the prophets wrote, and they shall all be taught by God. Why will all be taught by God? because there is no longer a law to learn, but rather a way of knowing God to learn. And that way is love, by loving. Jesus says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me has eternal life." In the simpler terms, Jesus says that your life is already eternal if you believe in him. It's not just something that you're going to get later. It's something that you get to experience now by following his example. This reassures us of the hope and eternal life that belief in Jesus will bring to us. Here, Jesus displeases even his disciples because he touches on the failure of the Exodus. Jesus, in a very controversial way, states, "Your fathers." He should have said, "Our fathers," but he doesn't include himself. He says, "Your fathers," because he distanced himself. Jesus follows the Father and not the forefathers. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and they died. The Exodus failed. All those who followed Moses in the Exodus died in the desert. Even Moses himself did not enter the promised land. It was their children who entered, but not those who had started the journey. Therefore, Jesus exposes that the Exodus was not a total success. This is the bread that comes down from heaven, so that the one who may eat it may not die. Eating this bread, which is the life of Jesus, and becoming bread for others, creates a new dynamic of love within the individual, making his life undeniable, making his life eternal. Jesus insists again, "I am the bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats this bread, he will live forever. And the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh." Jesus uses the word flesh on purpose, meaning everything that's earthly is capable and willing and ready to carry the divine life of God. We should not separate or downgrade what is earthly. There is nothing more earthly than flesh, and yet that flesh is the life of the world. The more human we become, the more sensitive we become to the needs and the sufferings of others, the more human we are, the more the divine within us is revealed, enlightening, and inspires us. Here's a question for you. In what ways are we called to break down the barriers between ourselves and God? And how can we become bread for others, embodying God's love in our daily lives? God bless you.